Good evening to all working from whichever part of the world you are joining for the session. Today we will have a brief introduction about the kinds of statements in SQL. So the first one is a DDL statement, and second is a DML statement. Third one is a TCL. So the expansion of DDL statement is data definition language. It stands as data definition language, whereas for a DML it is data manipulation language, and for the TCL it is transaction control language. So again, these are the four subsets of the data definition language. They are create, alter, drop and truncate. And coming to the data manipulation language, select, insert and update are the three subtypes of the DML statements. Coming to TCL, that is the transaction control language, commit and rollback are the SQL commands under the TCL category. So today and day one, we will be looking at the DDL create statement alone. So under the create statement, these are the kinds of objects that can be created in Microsoft SQL Server. One is the database, that is a primary object. Under the database, we can create tables, views, stored procedures, functions, synonyms, and so on. We will be looking at these objects and the database creation part today. So coming to the first command, as we discussed here, is the database creation command. So this is the command. The command goes like that: create database, and you have to specify the database name within the opening and closing symbol. And go is a batch statement. That means in this particular batch, only one command, that is a database creation, is included. So if we want to create a database, we must use this command. I will practically use this command in another query and show you. So let me give my own database name. Like I will term it as DB for class 1. So this is the database name that I want. So in order to execute, I can click on the execute symbol, or I can use the shortcut keyboard shortcut of F5. Once I click, so the commands got executed. You can check in the Object Explorer whether the database that we created just now is getting reflected. You have to go to the topmost database portion and click on the refresh button, and you must see the database that we created just now being reflected here. So under this database only, we can be able to create tables, views, store procedures, functions, synonyms. So as you can see here, we can be if we add new tables, it will be listed under this tables category. If you add synonyms, it will be listed under this synonyms category. Yeah. Now we will be we must say to the SQL server to use this particular database. So we must pinpoint this particular database so that in future if we create tables, views, procedures also, it must be created under this particular database. So for this, use this command use. So that means you can see this becomes the current transactional database. This is the second most important. So this command only indicates to the SQL server to create whichever commands we are subsequently executing to be created under this database. So use the database name. So now we will go to the table creation process. For the table creation, I use this particular code block. So it stands like this: schema name. In this, I use the schema name of DBO. I will tell more about the schema name in future. Okay. So for now, I use this table namespace. I give the name as table class 1. So I must remove this open and close parenthesis also. And this one I give it as an ID, and I need this particular type to be of integer, and its type should not be of not null. So this particular there are three columns, as you can see: the column name, the column data type, and nullability. So in this particular column I am giving as an ID, and it should have an integer value, and it should not be null. So this particular third value will take two values: either it can be null or not null. So let me see an case for null. Name. We will be having a separate session on the data type. That is a huge topic. We will be taking up that class in some other day. So assume that var character of 20 is a string. Assume it to be a string of length 20, and for the column nullability, as you can see, we are expecting every person to have a name. So this particular should not be null, should not be a null value. And for the third column, I am going for an email. So this is also kind of a string value. So I am opting for var character of 30. The string length is 30. And for this particular nullability, we can't expect every person to have email value or address. So for that, this particular value can be null. So this particular third value indicates that this particular column doesn't expect a value, so it can be optionally null also. So but if you are specifying as not null, then that means the ID value, we are expecting an integer value, so it will not accept null here. So now, so this part I will leave it in the future class. Okay, so it's kind of an advanced one: primary key, indexing, foreign key, like that. So now I will go on and click on execute to create the table. So now let me check on under this particular database DB class 1 whether this table is created or not. Come refresh, and if I go on, I can see a particular table being created with three columns, namely ID, name, and email. So ID is of type integer, name is of type var character, that is similar to string, and email is also of type var character. So the only difference is email, it accepts null value, but ID and name, it doesn't accept null value. Since it is not null, it will not accept null value. That is the only criteria we are expecting. Yeah. So I will go on and create a view under this particular database. So in order to create a view, this is the command: create view, the schema name. Here, as I told, I will be having a separate session on the schema. So it's a separate topic. And for the naming convention of view name, I'm having it as view, and for table class 1. So you may have